Ah, welcome back, beautiful ghosts. The ones who finally let go. The ones who stopped running after people who were walking away. The ones who put the phone down mid-text and never picked it back up. Yeah, you. I see you. And apparently, so does everyone else now. Because something happened, didn't it? Something shifted in the atmosphere. You stopped chasing. And the whole damn world started sprinting after you. You stopped begging for scraps of attention. And suddenly they're checking your page like it's a news alert. You stopped explaining yourself. And now they're writing dissertations trying to decode your silence. You vanished. And they're having full-blown existential crises about where you went, who you're with, what you're thinking, why you're not thinking about them anymore. Let me tell you what's really happening here. They thought your chase was proof of their value. They thought your texts, your calls, your energy, your desperation to be chosen. They thought that was their currency. They thought they were the prize, and you were just another contestant begging for a chance. But then you did the unthinkable. You stopped playing. You didn't announce it. You didn't make a scene. You didn't post some dramatic goodbye. You just stopped. And that broke their entire reality. Because now they're forced to ask a question they've been avoiding their whole lives. If I'm so valuable, why did they walk away so easily? If I'm so special, why aren't they fighting for me? If I'm the catch everyone says I am, why does their absence feel like the apocalypse? See, here's what they don't understand. Your chase wasn't about them. It was about you. You were chasing the version of them you built in your head. You were chasing closure, validation, the fantasy of being chosen by someone who clearly didn't deserve you. But the moment you stopped, the moment you looked at that phone, that unanswered message, that one-sided energy, and said, you know what? I'm done. That's when you reclaimed something they never expected you to find, yourself. And now you're walking around with this energy they can't describe. This unbothered, untouchable, unshakable presence that makes every room you enter feel different. You're not angry. You're not bitter. You're not posting cryptic quotes. You're just free. And freedom. Freedom is the most terrifying thing to people who are still in chains. They're panicking because they thought you needed them. They structured their entire ego around the idea that you were the desperate one, the emotional one, the one who cared too much. And now you've shattered that illusion by proving you can live. No, not just live, thrive without them. You're not sulking in your room replaying old conversations. You're not drunk texting at 2 a.m., begging for another chance. You're not even angry. You're just gone. And that silence is louder than any scream you could have let out. It echoes in their mind every single day. They wake up thinking about you. They go to sleep wondering what you're doing. They see your name and their chest tightens because they know they lost something irreplaceable and they're never getting it back. You want to know the real reason they're panicking? Because you stopped feeding their addiction. They were addicted to your attention, your energy, your need to be chosen by them. And now you've gone cold turkey, and they're going through withdrawals. Every time they post, they're checking if you watched. Every time they go out, they're scanning the room, hoping you'll walk in. Every time their phone buzzes, there's a split second where they think it's you, and when it's not, they die a little inside, because you're not just gone, you're unbothered. And unbothered. Unbothered is unforgivable to people who thought they had power over you. You didn't just walk away. You evolved past the need for their existence. And that's what keeps them up at night. Let's talk about what's happening in their world right now, shall we? Because it's chaos. It's beautiful, poetic, karmic chaos. They're scrolling through your old messages, trying to find the moment they lost you. They're rereading conversations from months ago, analyzing your tone, looking for clues they missed. Did they say something wrong? Was there a specific moment? Or did you just wake up one day and realize they weren't worth the energy anymore? And that question is eating them alive. Because if there was a moment, they could fix it. They could apologize, manipulate, love bomb their way back in. But if you just outgrew them, if you just evolved past their frequency, there's nothing they can do. You can't negotiate with someone who doesn't want you anymore. They're asking mutual friends about you. Have you heard from them? How are they doing? Are they seeing anyone? And when those friends say you're doing great, better than great, actually thriving, glowing, unbothered, their stomach drops. Because that means you weren't broken by them. You weren't destroyed. You weren't waiting by the phone hoping they'd come back. You just moved on. Like they were a chapter you finished reading and never thought about again. And for someone who thought they were your whole story, that's unacceptable. That's ego death. That's the realization that maybe, just maybe, they weren't as important as they convinced themselves they were. Maybe you were the catch all along. Maybe you were the one doing them a favor. Maybe losing you was the biggest mistake of their life. And now it's too late. Here's what's really happening in their head right now. They're comparing everyone new to you. Every conversation feels shallow because it's not you. Every laugh feels forced because it's not your laugh. Every attempt at connection feels hollow because they're realizing you can't replace depth with distraction. You can't replace real with convenient. And now they're stuck in this loop where they keep trying to find someone who makes them feel the way you did, but no one does. Because you weren't just a person. You were a mirror. You reflected back their potential, their better self, the version of them that could have been something real. And now that mirror is gone, and all they see is the truth. They're shallow. They're selfish. They're scared. And without you, they're nothing special. They thought ghosting you would make you chase harder. They thought pulling back would make you cling tighter. They thought playing games would keep you hooked. But you did something they never prepared for. You called their bluff. You said, okay, you want space? Here's all the space in the universe. Enjoy. And now they're drowning in that space. They're suffocating in the silence they created. They wanted you to fight for them, but instead, you fought for yourself. And that was the move they never saw coming. Because it wasn't a move designed to hurt them or teach them a lesson. It was a move designed to free you. And freedom? Freedom doesn't need revenge. It doesn't need closure. It doesn't need the last word. Freedom just leaves. And that exit, That exit is haunting them more than any argument ever could. You know what the sickest part is? They're not even panicking because they miss you. They're panicking because they're realizing you were the best thing they're ever going to have, and they threw it away for nothing. For ego, for options, for the illusion of greener grass. And now they're standing in a field of weeds, pretending it's a garden. They're forcing smiles with people who don't get them. They're faking connections with people who don't challenge them. They're settling for surface-level everything because deep down they know no one is going to love them the way you did. No one is going to see them the way you did. No one is going to fight for them the way you did. And the worst part, they're the ones who destroyed it. They can't blame you. They can't play victim. They can only sit in the wreckage of their own choices and wonder, what if I hadn't been so stupid? Let's get real about your silence for a second. Because it's not just absence. It's not just you're not around anymore. No, your silence is a statement. It's a declaration. It's a truth bomb they can't diffuse. Every day you don't reach out is another day. They're forced to confront the reality that you don't need them. Every week that passes without your name on their screen is another week they realize you're not coming back. And that realization, it's not happening all at once. It's slow. It's agonizing. It's death by 1,000 realizations. First, they think you're just busy. Then they think you're playing hard to get. Then they think you're trying to make them jealous. And then it hits them. You're not playing anything. You're just done. Your silence is doing something their words never could. It's making them reflect. It's making them question everything they thought they knew about themselves. Because when you were there, chasing, caring, trying, they could ignore their flaws. They could pretend they were the prize. But now that you're gone, now they're alone with their thoughts. And those thoughts aren't pretty. They're realizing how badly they treated you. They're remembering the times you tried to communicate and they dismissed you. They're recalling the moments you needed them and they were too busy for you. They're seeing, for the first time, that they weren't the main character in this story. You were, and they were just the obstacle you had to overcome to find yourself. And that truth is shattering their entire identity. Here's what they don't want to admit. Your silence has more power than their words ever did. Because words can be manipulated, twisted, explained away. But silence can't be argued with. Silence doesn't defend itself. Silence just exists. And in that existence, it forces everyone around it to fill in the blanks. And the blanks they're filling in, they're terrifying. They're imagining you happy without them. They're imagining you with someone better. They're imagining you living your best life while they're stuck in the same patterns. And whether those things are true or not doesn't matter, because in their mind, your silence confirms their worst fears. You don't need them. You don't miss them. You don't think about them. And that's more painful than any insult you could have thrown their way. You're not posting about them. You're not subtweeting. You're not playing the victim on social media. And that's what's driving them insane. Because they're used to people who chase them making a scene when they leave. They're used to tears, drama, public meltdowns, desperate attempts to get their attention. But you just vanished like smoke, like you were never even there. And that's the ultimate power move. Because it says you weren't important enough to fight over. You weren't worth the energy it would take to hate you. You were just a lesson I learned and moved on from. And for someone who needs to feel important, needed, desired, that's the worst sentence they could ever hear. You didn't even care enough to hate them. You just forgot them, like they were a song you used to like, but don't listen to anymore. They're checking your social media obsessively now. Every story, every post, every like, they're analyzing it all, looking for signs you're thinking about them. And when they don't find any, when your life looks full, happy, peaceful, when there's no trace of them in your world anymore, that's when the panic really sets in. Because it means you erased them, not just from your phone, not just from your life, but from your emotional hard drive. You reformatted, you rebooted. And the version of you that's running now, it doesn't have their file anymore. They've been deleted permanently. No recycle bin, no backup, no restore option, just gone. And that permanence, that finality, it's the nightmare they never thought they'd have to face. Because they always assumed you'd be there, waiting, hoping, ready to take them back the moment they decided to come around. But you're not. And now they're realizing some doors don't open twice. Oh, and let's talk about what's happening with whoever they're with now, because that's where the real torture lives. See, they thought replacing you would be easy. They thought the next person would make them forget. They thought new energy would erase old feelings. But here's what's actually happening. Every single person they meet now gets compared to you, and no one is measuring up. They're on dates thinking about how you would have laughed at that joke. They're in conversations realizing this person doesn't challenge them like you did. They're in bed with someone new, feeling emptier than they did alone. Because chemistry isn't something you can manufacture. Depth isn't something you can fake. And what you had together, that was real, rare, irreplaceable. And they threw it away. They're trying to convince themselves they're happier now. They're posting pictures, acting unbothered, pretending their life is amazing. But you know what's funny? The people who are truly happy don't need to announce it constantly. They don't need to perform their joy for an audience. They just live it. But them, they're performing. They're putting on a show, hoping you're watching, hoping you're jealous, hoping you're regretting walking away. But here's the plot twist. You're not watching. You're not jealous. You're not thinking about them at all. And that indifference is the ultimate revenge. Because it proves you meant what you said when you walked away. You weren't bluffing. You weren't playing games. You were just done. And done doesn't come back. Done doesn't negotiate. Done is final. The person they're with now, they're a placeholder, a distraction, a band-aid on a wound that needs surgery. And deep down, they know it. They know they're settling. They know this person doesn't make them feel alive the way you did. They know the conversations are surface level. The chemistry is forced. The connection is shallow. But they can't admit it. Because admitting it would mean admitting they lost you. admitting they made the biggest mistake of their life, admitting that their ego destroyed something beautiful. So instead, they pretend, they fake it, they lie to themselves and everyone around them. But at night, when it's quiet, when the distractions fade, they think about you. They wonder what you're doing. They replay the memories, and they hate themselves for letting you go. Here's what kills them the most. You're not sitting around heartbroken. You're not crying over them. You're not stalking their page. You're out there living, glowing, evolving, becoming the version of yourself they'll never get to witness up close. And one day, they're going to see you with someone new, someone who treats you right, someone who values you, someone who doesn't play games because they're too busy being grateful they found you. And on that day, their entire world is going to collapse. Because that's when it becomes real. That's when they realize you didn't just leave them. You upgraded. You found better. You proved that walking away from them was the best decision you ever made. And that visual, that reality, it's going to haunt them for the rest of their life. Because they could have been that person. They had the chance, and they blew it. You want to know the ultimate irony? They thought you needed them more than they needed you. They thought you were the lucky one for having their attention. They thought they were doing you a favor by keeping you around. But now the roles have reversed. Now they're the ones hoping for a text. Now they're the ones wondering if there's still a chance. Now they're the ones feeling like they lost something they'll never find again. And you're just existing, peacefully, powerfully, unbothered, because you finally learned the lesson they refused to teach themselves. You can't lose someone who wasn't meant for you. You can only lose someone who was blocking your path to someone better. And the moment you stopped chasing them, that's when you started walking toward yourself. And yourself. Yourself is the only person you needed all along. Now let's talk about the moment they realize they can't get you back. Because that moment is coming. It might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. But it's coming. Maybe it's when they finally swallow their pride and reach out. And you don't respond. Maybe it's when they show up somewhere hoping to run into you. And you look right through them like they're a stranger. Maybe it's when they hear through the grapevine that you're happy, thriving, in love with your life, and they realize they're not part of that life anymore. Whatever the catalyst, the moment is coming when they understand you're not coming back. And that moment is going to break something inside them that never fully heals. They're going to try everything. They're going to send the "I miss you" text at midnight. They're going to like your old pictures, hoping you notice. They're going to show up in places they think you'll be. They're going to use mutual friends to get information. They're going to play the victim, the changed person, the one who finally gets it now. They're going to promise they're different, better, ready for real love. And you know what you're going to do? Absolutely nothing. Because you've already been down that road. You've already given chances. You've already believed the promises. And you're not doing it again. Not because you're bitter, but because you're smart.